Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, I am ready for the event.
Copy that. CBS this morning, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Mark Strassman for CBS this morning. How do you hear me?
Mark, I've got you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you again.
Yeah, same here, Nick. Thanks for doing this for us. You know, the last time we talked, it was you, me, Katie in your living room in Houston. You've been through the first Soyuz experience, and we're looking forward, of course, to getting this second chance. So we have this video of you finally arriving at the ISS. So walk me through that. What was that moment like to finally get there after all you've been through?
Well, like you said, Mark, the past year, tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of my family getting on the plane to fly over to watch me attempt to launch into space the first time. And so I think this year has definitely been a crazy year. Finally making it up here in March was just this feeling of it's a mix of emotions, the relief of finally accomplishing it, the knowing the sacrifice that had been put in up to that point, not just by me but by my family. It's something uncommon to ask a family to sit there and witness a rocket disintegrate with someone, who they love strapped to the top of it, and then to turn around and ask them to do that again, 5 months later. That's quite something for them to go through. And it's really brought home just how important it is, what we're doing up here, and why it's all worth it.
Tell me about your first spacewalk. What was it like looking down, and did you look toward Houston and give your wife and kids a little wave?
Actually, the first spacewalk, so I've had a chance to do 3 while I've been up here, which has just been an amazing opportunity. The first one, the adrenaline is rushing so fast through the system, and you're focused, laser focused on the task at hand, and working with the team on the ground and with your wingman that's out there with you, trying to get the job done. And so Ann and I were so focused on the task at hand that it was really after I got back inside that I was able to try to start processing all of that. If you fast forward to the third EVA, I was able to absorb and take in a little bit more of what was around me. And there was a point where I was out on the front of the station during that EVA, and I was able to look up and really not see any station in front of me at all, but just see the curve of the Earth, me and my own individual spacecraft coasting through space over just such a beautiful horizon. The wave of emotions that comes over you is just overwhelming.
First trip up in space after 6 months on the ISS. What's been the biggest surprise?
I've heard a lot about the being up here and the perspective, or the change in perspective that you have, being able to look down on the Earth, being able to be in orbit looking up at the universe and down at the Earth. So I expected it. I didn't fully appreciate just how significant that change is. To be able to look down and see the Earth for what it is, this one giant organism that is alive, and it's constantly changing, and we're part of that, and to just understand that we're part of this precious place, and then to look at the contrast with deep space and all the stars and universes that you can, or galaxies that you can see, and realize that we're on this very special place, and this precious island in this abyss of darkness around us, and in this vacuum. It really brings home just this sense of of hope in terms of I'm part of something great. I may be an individual, but I'm on the ground, and I'm part of something larger than myself. I'm part of planet Earth. And it also brings forth a sense of stewardship in terms of, this is our planet, and we need to do everything we can to make sure that we preserve that for future generations. The change in perspective up here is profound, and you can definitely feel it.
After having gone through that first aborted Soyuz launch with no guarantee, and in that moment that there would be a second chance for you, now that you've been on the ISS for 6 months, what does your space experience say about the power of second chances?
I think life is full of second chances, and life is full of adversity, and what defines you is how you encounter that adversity, how you approach it, and whether you bounce back from it or not. And the launch abort was a very visible, very dramatic a moment of adversity in my life. But there's been examples of that throughout my career in the Air Force. I think everyone has examples of that in their life, and so you have to really. What I found in talking with my wife about it and moving forward past the abort, I think what it all boils down to is you have to know why you're doing what you're doing. Why am I committed to what I'm doing? And we're committed to this. And I say we because this is a family industry. Everybody's involved. Everybody sacrifices. We're committed to what we're doing here on orbit because we're changing humanity for the better. We're up here finding out how to make everyday life better through better materials, through better drugs. We're trying to find out how to make future life better in terms of developing the technologies we're going to need to push further into space, go to the moon and go to Mars. So we're up here contributing to something that's so much larger than ourselves. And so I think second chances are really moments in life where you can reflect on what's important and why you're committed to what you're committed to, and make the decision to move forward.
After 6 months, are you ready to come home?
I'm sure definitely ready to give my wife and kids a huge hug.
And what are you going to miss most about space?
There's the obvious things that I'll miss. I'll miss things just floating, and myself being able to just float around for 6 months. That's such a unique experience, flying around in microgravity. But I think when it all boils down to it, I'm going to miss the people. I'm going to miss my crewmates who I'm up here, working shoulder to shoulder with on a daily basis, and we're all going through this together. But it stretches even beyond that because we're tied into control rooms and a team that spans the globe, and I'm going to miss those moments where I get to work, close with whether it's a control room in Japan, or whether it's a control room in Huntsville, Alabama, or in Germany, or in just outside Moscow. I'm going to miss working with all of those people because the team it's just a special team because everybody shares that commitment and that passion to serving for something so positive. They're committed to making a positive difference in the world.
I can see some floating going on behind you there. How about you? Have you got pretty good at space gymnastics? Are you pretty good at the forward roll and getting around the station?
Well, you can become good, but you can also become cocky, and then it all goes bad. But we'll give it a shot here. I got to tell you, Mark, that never gets old.
Listen, thanks so much for doing this for us. We'll talk to you when you get back on Earth, and congratulations on everything that you've had a chance to do for the last 6 months.
Thank you, Mark. It's, as always, a pleasure to talk with you, and like you said, look forward to seeing you back on Earth.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the CBS This Morning portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from News Center Maine.
Station, this is Bill Green with News Center Maine. How do you hear me?
Got you loud and clear. How me?
Hi, you do very well. Jessica Meir, it was so exciting to watch you blast off the other day. Have you seen your launch? It was spectacular and beautiful. How did it feel for you?
It was simply amazing. I haven't seen a whole video of it or anything yet, but I did see some amazing photographs that Christina captured from aboard the space station. Sounds like it was a pretty special launch, and of course it was for us inside the Soyuz as well. It's hard to really to describe all those feelings.
I was impressed with the camera. They had a shot of you inside the capsules. You're going like 17,000 miles an hour, and you seemed very calm. Were you?
Surprisingly, I was pretty calm. I think because of the training that we receive on the ground. You know, we have been in the simulators in Star City, the Cosmonaut Training Center outside of Moscow. We've been in that simulator so many times, going through everything exactly step by step of what we'll be experiencing during launch. So it's funny, actually, during the launch, sometimes I would have to remind myself that this was the real thing and that it wasn't actually the simulator. Of course, the movements of the rocket, and then when the stages start separating and you can actually see those pieces coming off through the windows, then you know it's the real deal.
You're so much to so many people all over the world, but here in Maine especially a STEM person. How long did it take you to get started with your science in space?
That's a great question, Bill. You know how important science is to me, and I'm pretty excited to say that I had science on my schedule up here only 36 hours after arriving. So since then, I had 3 different sessions looking at some crystals, so a microgravity crystal growth experiment. And I think we've talked about this, I think, once before, how proteins can grow more pure and bigger here without gravity, and that can help lead to the development of inhibitors for certain diseases. For example, the Japanese space program recently developed a drug against Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and that's even in clinical trials. So I've done 3 sessions of that, and yesterday I spent some time setting up a veggie experiment. We'll actually be growing Mizuna lettuce up here and harvesting it in about 2 months, so I really look forward to eating that.
What's the adjustment been like? You blasted off on Kazakhstan time. You're on Greenwich Mean Time now. We're 4 hours ahead of you. Have you been able to sleep and eat well and get your work done because you're rested?
Yeah, the time zone change, I think, especially just because there's so much adrenaline and you're so excited to be here. I will never forget coming through that hatch and seeing it was even more special for me since it was full of my classmates and crew members that I'm really particularly close with. So it was such an incredible feeling. Of course, we had that time shift to deal with, and it took me a little while to fall asleep, but that was good because we had some stuff to do to get organized. We always have a general safety briefing when new crew members arrive, just in case anything happened right away, so we needed to knock those things out before going to bed. But as most people who know me well in Maine know, I am a very good sleeper, so sleep actually has come quite naturally to me here. I've been sleeping full nights, and that's a good thing because sleep's very important to me.
I'm trying to educate myself about how it works, but I understand, is there a change of command in the next 24 hours, and then the Soyuz leaves? And what will that entail for you and for the space station? How do you expect it to change?
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty rare that right now we have 9 crew members aboard the space station. I don't think this has happened since 2015. You know, generally it's 6 crew members. So I came up here with cosmonaut Oleg Skripochka and then the first astronaut from the United Arab Emirates, Hazi Ali Al-Mansouri. Unfortunately, Hazza will actually be leaving on this spacecraft going down. His was a short duration mission since it's the very first for their country. They're not doing a full duration mission yet. So poor Hazza has only had 8 days up here, and he's been getting all of his work done, really representing his country well. He'll be going back down on that Soyuz with Nick Hague, another one of my classmates who's been up here for about 6 months now, and Alexei Ovchinin, a Russian cosmonaut who's also been up here. That was Nick's commander. So they will be leaving basically later tonight, early tomorrow morning. So what we're doing is a change of command ceremony. Alexei has been the commander on the space station, and now he will be turning over to give Luca Parmitano the command of the space station. For me, it's not really a big difference. It just means that we will have 3 fewer crew members. So, of course, it's always sad to say goodbye to our friends, especially when we just got here.
What will you be doing that we will find particularly interesting science-wise in the next couple of weeks or so as we follow you pretty much on a daily basis?
Oh, thanks, Bill. That's really nice to hear. What we're doing right now, one of the most important things that we do, because it's one of the riskiest things that we do aboard the space station, is we're getting ready for a very important series of EVAs, of spacewalks. So we will be donning the spacesuits, going outside in order to replace and upgrade the batteries for the International Space Station. We're upgrading to lithium-ion batteries to give a better power reserve for the space station. That will be a series of 5 spacewalks, and the first one will be starting Sunday. So we've been already doing some work to prep the suits and get the crew members ready, and we have a lot to make sure that we get those crew members out the door and back in safely. That will be pretty active, and that will take up a lot of our time in the next few weeks. But of course, we still have other science experiments and general space station maintenance in the schedule as well.
That's exciting stuff. I've been watching for you in the sky. Now, right now, we seem to get, for people at home, you can see the space station at dawn and dusk some days. We seem to be getting a good look at you during the evening period right now, Jessica. Have you had and there's a 5-minute window Wednesday night at 7:14 that Maine will see you. Are you getting a good look at Maine?
I did have an incredible pass the other day. I was in the cupola with Nick, and he was giving me a little bit of a tour, and we had this amazing pass which started over Mexico. We saw Houston and New Orleans really well, and we went right up the East Coast. We could see down in New York City and even see Central Park, easily see the outline of Cape Cod and Boston, and then I need to get a little bit better at picking out my hometown. I could definitely see Maine, but I need to figure out exactly where Caribou is on the map. We then kept going, and I saw my first sunset from the cupola, and then there were these amazing aurora. So we had this amazing green glow all over Europe. We came with the UK, and then with France, and then came right down the boot of Italy with all of these lights showing, and still all of the aurora in the distance. It was a pretty spectacular view. I'll be sure to wave to Maine when you guys are looking up.
We know that you were an outstanding student, so I think you probably concentrate better than me. But it's all this stuff, interviews with your old hometown station, all the people that watched you in the buses going to the lift. How do you balance the professionalism with the distractions?
That's a great question, and I think I'm still trying to figure that out. Sometimes it's difficult to contain the excitement, especially in these early moments and when it's something that, I've been thinking about my entire life. But we have to also remain vigilant. We have to also remember our training because, at any time there could be an emergency. We need to make sure that we are ready, prepared for it. And, of course, I don't look at this as my own personal time up here. This is really such a valuable resource, and I'm so fortunate to be up here that I want to make sure that all of the tasks on my timeline, all the different scientific experiments I do and focus on to the best of my capability so that we can bring back good results to the ground. So we just try to balance it, but of course it's important for us to be human and to have fun as well, and we do that. That comes easily to us, especially since we're all such close friends up here.
Now, my boss just walked by and whispered, have her send us some pictures. So we are following you on social media. Anything you want to send our way, we will certainly broadcast it to our people as well. And is there anything you want to say to the folks back home in Maine?
Well, I wanted to show you what I brought along. I'm not sure if you can get a good view of this or not. Try to bring it a little bit closer to the camera. But I've got a Maine flag here and another Maine patch for you guys. And please give my best to everybody. I'll do my best to keep sending pictures down, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to you all again soon.
Following NASA to see when they make an announcement, but some of the websites that follow space closely say that they are dusting Christopher Cassidy off, and that the two of you may end up together for a couple of weeks this spring. So we'll hope for that as well. We'll continue to follow your progress, Jessica. It's a thrill for us, And I guess just so long and congratulations on being an astronaut. We're following you closely back here.
Okay, thank you so much, Bill. As always, it is wonderful to speak to you and to everybody in Maine. So I look forward to more of that in the future. Take care.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all the participants from CBS This Morning and News Center Maine. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.